Okay people, this is himself, and in this video I'm going to show you Armor King's throw setups. I'll talk about the frames he has to use, and I'll show you how to stop your opponent ducking and sidestepping so you can land them more often. The main throw I go for is Giant Swing. This is a one break and potentially gives you the most damage, but to mix things up I like to go for Tombstone and DDT. These are 2 and 1+2 breaks and it keeps your opponent guessing. They're also the most damaging throws for their respective breaks. On a side note, if anyone's having trouble getting these out, then I've already done a video showing you easy inputs, so if you want to see that, there's a card in the top right corner and a link in the description. For anti-sidestepping and ducking, the two moves I go for are DF1 and down +2. DF1 comes out in 13 frames, is -1 on block and +7 on hit. D2 is 17 frames, -2 on block and +5 on hit. So it would seem that DF1 is better, but D2 has better range and better tracking, so sometimes it's the better option. What I also want to mention is that you're not restricted to these two. What I've suggested is what I think are the safest and most reliable options, but if you get a hard read on someone and you want to use something more rewarding, then by all means do so. Now on with the setups. All the ones I'm going to show you are for open play. Against the wall, the meta is a bit different and I'll cover that in a wall game video, so if you want to see that when it comes out, make sure you subscribe. The very first setup is 1 on block. This puts you at +1, meaning that Giant Swing is uninterruptible. To stop people ducking and sidestepping, you can use DF1. Against backdashes, it'll be blocked, but against sidesteppers, you'll land a hit. The problem though is that it can be interrupted and sidewalked in some cases, so to stop that, you can use D4. This will high crush 10 and 11 frame moves and track those sidesteppers, but it's a low, so there's a chance it'll be blocked by duckers. An alternative is 2 on block. On its own, this is pretty much the same as 1, but what makes it better is the follow-up, 1. This is a mid and it catches sidesteppers and sidewalkers. On hit, it puts you at +7 and both Giant Swing and DDT will track in both directions. As for Tombstone, it will only track to Armor King's right in this situation, and for ducking and sidestepping, DF1 will do the job. Next setup is 1-2 as a 10 frame punisher. This puts you at +5 and is pretty much the same as 2-1 which I've just discussed, but the extra feature you have is 1-2-1. That last hit is a mid and it tracks both ways, but it only puts you at +1, which isn't that useful. However, when you land this on count hit, it's a whole different story. On count hit, you're at +31 guard frames, which is huge, and getting that count hit is entirely possible because you can delay it. With those frames, you have 2 routes to go down. The first one is chain throws. These will catch backdashes and sidesteppers and potentially give you 60+ damage. To cover duckers, you can use Crash Dash 4. This is safe and guarantees all 3 stomps on hit. It will also catch anyone who tries to sidestep. The other route, and what I think is the better route, is Shining Wizard. This is a 1+2 break and just like chain throws, will catch backdashes and sidesteppers. To cover duckers, you have running 3. This is +10 guard frames on block and it'll hit sidesteppers. One last option is down back 1+2. This comes out in 26 frames and is +3 on block. It will hit duckers and sidesteppers, and when that happens, it guarantees all 3 stomps as well. Now I've already mentioned DF1 and D2 as anti-ducking moves, but that makes some throw setups as well, so that's what we're going to look at next. On hit, DF1 puts you at +7, but there's some pushback. What that means is that only Giant Swing will catch both backdashes and sidesteppers. Tombstone will track to the right, but DDT seems to be too linear here. Your anti-ducking and sidestepping move can be another DF1, but D2 is also a good option. Speaking of D2, on hit this puts you at +5, but both you and your opponent are in crouch. But despite that, you can still Giant Swing from here, and this will catch backdashes and sidesteppers. Your mix-up is AK Driver, but sadly it doesn't track like Giant Swing, so it might be one to stay away from. To stop duckers and sidesteppers, another D2 is the answer, but because you're in crouch, you need to hit up to come to standing before you can do it. Next setup is this 12 frame punisher, back +1-2. This puts you at +6 and it's better than King's because the opponent stays close to you. From here, a Giant Swing will catch backdashes and sidesteppers, and D2 will cover duckers. Next setup is D+1 low jab. This is useful because you can use this to high crush and interrupt stuff. There's also certain moves which are -10 on block, but they put you into a crouch, so that means that this is your only guaranteed punish. On top of that, most people don't expect a throw to come out from crouch, so you can catch them by surprise. On hit, down +1 puts you at +6, and Giant Swing will catch backdashes and sidesteppers. Your mix up to this is AK Driver, but this will only catch people who sidestep and sidewalk left. Your anti-ducking move is while standing 4, but if you're confident you won't get interrupted, then standing up into DF1 or down +2 might also be worth a try. An extension of this move is down +1-4. On counter hit, this becomes a natural combo and also puts you at +6. In this situation, Giant Swing will catch backdashes and sidesteppers. DDT will also catch sidesteppers, but it doesn't have the same range as Giant Swing. Your anti-duck move is DF1, but you can also try D+2. The very last setup I have for you is Wakeup 3. I don't have the frame data for this, but I think it's around +5 on hit. In this situation, Giant Swing will catch sidesteppers and down +2 will stop people ducking. But the problem here is that they can backdash out of the throw and block the down +2, so your mix-up becomes negated. And it's for reasons like this that I've not included other setups. Stuff like F+4, down +3, up forward 1+2, these all give you frame advantage and you can start a mix-up. But in my testing I found too many holds to cover and I didn't want to show something that I thought was a bit loose. And that brings me to the end of this video. As always, I hope you guys learnt something. If you did, then please like, share and subscribe. If you think I've missed something out or got something wrong, then say so in the comments. There's more videos to come, so keep your eyes peeled for that, and I'll see you guys in the future.